Hello and welcome to the Telescope. Every week we'll bring you a fresh insight from the biggest car market in the world. Today we get to drive the third generation NIO ES8. Now in its third iteration, this ES8 has grown into a full-size SUV even by American standards. But in terms of product philosophy, it's actually quite different to the full-size SUVs in the States. The three-row full-size SUVs here in China are primarily designed to carry passengers, while the full-size SUVs in the States, most of them are based on a truck platform. They are primarily designed to carry cargo. So in terms of the treatment of second and third row, there's a big difference. You don't get seats as elaborate as this. The glass doesn't dim itself. The top-mounted display is not going to be mini LED. A dedicated central speaker for the second row. And the icing on the cake, you don't get a fridge, a compressor-driven fridge that can go from 55 degrees all the way to -2 degrees. Cheers. Chinese people mostly live in apartment buildings, so there's no front garden or backyard for us, and there's also not that much customization or maintenance work for us to do. And also labor cost in China is still low enough and the population density is high enough so that you can very easily find others to do it for you for a price that is... I lived in the States for 4 years. I know that's more than 10 years ago, but let's compare to the prices I was paying 10 years ago in the States. Let's just imagine the pandemic, inflation didn't happen. The price I'm paying now in China compared to the prices I was paying in the States 10 years ago is still laughable. So we don't need to do that much electrical or plumbing work by ourselves. And that difference in the way of living manifests itself into the cargo space design of the full-size SUVs, because as you can see, Chinese three-row full-size SUVs cargo space is primarily designed to carry suitcase. This is the suitcase that my cameraman uses to store all of his filming equipment. It's roughly the same size as a carry-on suitcase. And the underfloor storage of this car is precisely the size of a carry-on size suitcase. At one stage of this car's development, they even thought about extending, but I need to show you this first. You can see here on the side of the trunk, this part is still the soft touch leather you feel in the first and second row cabin. It's already more upmarket than most cargo-focused full-size SUV. But at one stage, they even thought about wrapping the whole trunk, the floor of the trunk, in this kind of soft touch leather. Of course, you can fold down the third row, and this car, being a very big full-size SUV, can carry big stuff, but this 6-seater version is the major selling spec that NIO is trying to push. You can get a 7-seater version and fold the second row completely flat to get a very big load floor, but you can clearly see the cargo space of the full-size SUVs here in China. They are designed to fit suitcases and not stuff you get from Home Depot. Now, NVH, noise, vibration and harshness, is not that important for a cargo-focused track adapted for passenger use, but is of paramount importance for a passenger-focused SUV like this. This car's NVH is, there's no other way of putting it, is absolutely world-class. This car is that much quieter than the BMW X7. If you drive this car on a smooth surface at 120 kph, that's roughly 75 miles an hour, this car is even quieter than the Li Auto Mega, which in my mind, I consider it to be the absolute benchmark of any car's NVH worldwide. And it matches with my experience here as well. We are going at 100 kilometers an hour. All I hear is the tire noise, the wind noise. You don't really hear it until about 130 kph. And that is just amazing. To be honest, I thought Li Auto Mega's NVH level is only achievable with that kind of teardrop shape. But this ES8 is a upright big SUV with a lot of quite boxy angles, but it's still just as quiet, and if you believe NIO's figure, even quieter than the Li Auto Mega. There's no getting away from it. This is a very big car. It's nearly 5.3 meters long, and it doesn't have rear-wheel steering. Now, many cars of this size has rear-wheel steering, but this car is so focused on that third-row experience that if this car has rear-wheel steering, the third-row space will take a huge hit. So they tried all the tricks in the book and then some to trying to gain agility. No, that's not the right word. Maneuverability for this car at low speed. This car's front wheel turns over 40 degrees inboard into this body, and they are 22-inch wheels. They're massive wheels. So big, in fact, to accommodate the wheels when they are turned over 40 degrees inboard, you can see signs of this car's front crash structure, front body structure, to trying to give some more space to the wheels when they are turned to the extreme angles. I should mention this has no effect on the safety of this car. This is no different to what Volkswagen is currently doing with the MEB platform. And that's not enough for this car, because when you are doing U-turns, which is when you need the maneuverability the most, this car, when you turn the steering wheel hard enough and at a speed low enough, this car will grab the inside brakes to try and minimize the turning radius. So much so that this car, despite being over 5.3 meters in length and over 3.1 meters in wheelbase, this car's turning circle is exactly the same as the Tesla Model Y. Steering wheel is something I deliberately avoided in the static review because I think it only makes sense when I'm driving the car. Is that this car, for a full-size SUV, surprisingly has a very thin rim. If you don't like the fat and very, very soft steering wheels on the current generation BMWs, you will love this steering wheel. I mean, the way it wraps around, it fits your thumb, it fits the backside of the wheel, just curves back at the right moment. I was lucky enough a few days ago, I tried a Ferrari Puro Sangue, which I think is the absolute epitome of sporty SUVs. And this, I dare say, this steering wheel is not that much far away from the Ferrari Puro Sangue steering wheel, which is quite something for a NIO steering wheel. I mean, previous NIO steering wheels, I'll just say they're fine, but they're not this good. In terms of chassis setup, this car has gone a step softer compared to the second gen ES8. If it's completely up to me, I will still choose the second gen ES8 for enthusiastic driving. But I think it's understandable. This car has gone a step softer in chassis because it's gone a step bigger, a big step bigger in size. Steering, especially at low speed, is another surprise. This car, for a car of this size, has a surprisingly small dead zone. You know, I'm not turning the wheel that much, but the car is positively responding to my steering. And that's rare for a car of this size. But if you speed it up to, now we are traveling at 100 kilometers an hour, then this car sort of calms down, which I think is the correct balance for a car of this size. You really need the maneuverability, a car of this size at low speed, but at high speed, you need this car to lock down on the highway. I think it's only fair at this point for me to mention the amazing landscape behind us. This is Helanshan. We are in Yingchuan, deep in the northwest part of China. Now, you would think in a place as remote as this, EV charging infrastructure could be a problem. Not quite so. We have a supercharging station about 10 minutes of drive that way, and in a nearby city we have hundreds of supercharging stations and even 3 NIO battery swap stations. And the deeper strength behind that, just take a look at this picture I took just before landing at the Yingchuan airport. It's the solar wind farms. It continued like this while the plane in the air. At that point, the altitude must be still more than 2,000 meters. It continued like that for about 3 minutes. Just endless solar wind farms. If you ask, why am I driving an EV this big, this luxurious, in a place this remote, where it looks like this car could just stop working the moment it loses the support from this infrastructure? Well, it's no longer a problem, even in a place as remote as this here in China. That is all from the telescope today. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.